Welcome to Blood, Sweat and Talanoa, our first Blitz. And tonight we've got with us Ben Leah, Malole Soifua. Welcome, Ben. How are you?
Kia ora,
Good,
Ana,
thanks. Olafalava, kia orana. I was going to say Maro ni, but I can't see Te Hau anyway.
Oh, no, still off duty at the moment.
Just the two of us. So, look, Ben, got you here tonight to talk about a couple of things. One, in terms of Upper Hutt legend, a very successful rugby league career, professional in England with Workington, Whitehaven, and Widnes, all the W's. A bit of a stint in Australia as well. What sort of brought you back to the game in terms of your current role with Upper Hutt?
I think like first of all, growing up in Upper Hutt, it was never one of my goals to be the chairman one day. It was always, young, just wanted to play footy and play with my friends. So I always knew that. So I played a bit in the UK, like you said, and lived in Auckland for a little bit. And it was always my thing that if ever I came back to Wellington, I'd go back to my junior club and help out at Upper Hutt. And yeah, I've been the chair now for sharks. It's going on 7 years. I don't know where the 7 years has gone.
Wow. So a lot of, when you came back to the club, obviously a few challenges and a lot of work to do, facilities, the infrastructure, and also the membership. Sort of where did you start and what was your process in terms of going through the work that you've done?
Yeah, it was a bit of an eye-opener going back to the club. It was really tough. I mean, we didn't have a senior team. There were no juniors. The committee was pretty much depleted. I think Tyrone Pike was pretty much running the whole place by himself. And then I got invited back to a AGM. And it's funny, like before I left, nearly 7 years ago, the missus said to me, "Don't come back as the chair or the president of the club. I don't want you being a committee member." And then went out to the AGM, and I knew that the club was in a bit of strife because I was sitting right opposite Kevin Tamati, absolute legend of our game. And I sat there, I was thinking, man, what's KT doing here? The club must be, they must be doing it tough, and just listening to everyone. And pretty much, yeah, it was like a bit of doom and gloom. The club wasn't looking the greatest in terms of membership. That was like way down from when I was there. So, I put my hand up to be a volunteer first, and then came back home as the chair. And then when I got home, the missus was like, "Geez, you're pretty quiet. You're not the bloody chair, eh?" I said, "Yep." And then it was funny because the missus said, "I already give you 1 year." That was nearly 7 years ago.
7 years ago. What's the work involved in terms of what you've done? And also, I know you've got a great committee around you and that as well. How did you sort of bring in the people that you needed to help you with the rejuvenation?
First of all, I always knew, because I knew the club was in trouble. So I thought, because I knew that like a couple of years before there was a senior team. But my way of thinking was, if I go back to the club, you can't grow a club with just one senior team. I always knew that I was going to go back to grassroots and bring the juniors back to the club because, for me being a junior at that club, that was my family club. So that was the first goal. So we got a couple of junior teams on board, and then, it was finding some coaches, getting some managers, and then from there was trying to build our committee because there was no committee. It was just Paul Tyrone by himself. So it was me spending a lot of Sundays, cup of teas at Tyrone's place, just trying to get as much, advice from him, as possible, what to do. So built the committee. And then juniors, I wasn't really worried about senior teams back then. I just wanted to bring the kids back to the club. And then after that, I knew committee, and then just there was a lot of work to be done around the club. So one of the major ones was the leaky roof. I mean, shucks, I think that club was built in like maybe the 70s. So we didn't even know if the roof had asbestos in there. So I thought, man, I might have to ring up one of my clients to go check it out. So we got quotes from 50 to 150K to repair the roof, and not one time did a roofer actually go up on the roof and have a look. So ended up, we put the roof to the side, but that was still a major, especially with the heavy rain. So we went to the carpet. We uplifted the carpet. So we managed to bring on a sponsor, A to Z Flooring. So Cass, she's one of our committee members and the junior convener. She brought them on board. But then when we uplifted the carpet, it started to rain. But it was good in the sense that once the carpet was up and the leaks were hitting the concrete, we knew exactly where the leaks were. So one of Cass's workmates, he used to be a roofer, but he's actually a plumber by trade. So he came down and he was like, "Bro, has anyone ever jumped up on the roof to have a look?" And I said, "Actually, no." So we did what we probably shouldn't be doing. I mean, if work's so far, we in the blues, so I had to hold the ladder. And then he jumped up on the roof, and then he came down and he goes, "Ben, the leak up here is actually not that bad." And I said, "Oh, so how much you reckon it's going to cost?" And he said, "We're probably going to need like lots of sealant first, and then we can go from there." So that cost us like, it was a couple of $100 to get sealant, and then, we had to get a scissor lift, and then we had to get someone with an EWP, and then he jumped up, sealed the roof, and then it started raining probably a couple of weeks later. Oh man, not even one leak at the bottom. There was only leaks on the other side, but we fixed that a few years ago. That was a major. And then, just the interior of the club, painted the exterior, and then from there, it was always my goal to have a wall of fame. So hence we started our mural on the outside with legends like Kevin Tarman,
that's awesome, bro.
Mike Quinty, Morven Edwards, and you got Sid's Ugly Mud up there as well. But I tell you what, brothers, there's still a lot of work to do. I mean, we still got to upgrade the toilets, kitchen, and then we wouldn't mind installing some showers. So still a lot of work to do. I better not talk too loud. Hopefully the missus will let me stay on for another 7 years.
7 years. It's quite a bit of a project. Look, what's the numbers now in terms of the junior program?
So this year we only had like 2 teams. So we had an under 7s and we had an under 12s. So I had to rope in a few favors from like my brothers and sisters to get my nephews and nieces to come along and make up the numbers. And then I got roped into playing Masters. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, mate. Awesome.
It's just the buzz from the golf tournament we've been having every year. We've been getting a lot of the older generation, our legends of the club, like LV, Mike, always playing golf and saying, you should put in a Masters team. And then a couple of months ago, we had a senior muster. And man, I was just so blown away. We had like 40 people turn up. And like, next year, it's looking likely that we're going to have we want to, bolster our juniors, which is one of the bonuses about bringing those senior men's and women's team on board, because obviously they're going to bring their kids. And even though they come from those other clubs, hey,
yeah, too bad.
Going to make our junior numbers look better.
I must admit, with you also setting up the Masters this year, to come on board with the Wellington Masters, and then going back to the club rooms, as you said, it's you guys did an awesome job in having the the Wall of Fame. Oh mate, it was an awesome night when Up Hutt hosted us.
Oh, to be honest with you, Terry, I wasn't really keen on playing Masters going, man. Honestly, Shane, the last thing is for me to get injured. I mean, not only my job, but am I like the only Samoan farmer in Wellington? Because I've got a farm. The last thing I want to do is get injured.
I saw you wearing headgear.
This whole season, I think I only played 3 games.
I tell him, nah, man, I'm riding my bike. I'm not playing Masters. For me. Look,
getting together. Yeah.
Ben, one of the really good things that you've done in terms of your time and in that leadership role is bring a club that's got such a rich history and such a rich legacy. You've been able to bring a number of those sort of people that have been associated with the club back, and through things like the golf tournament. How many years have you run the annual sort of golf event?
Next year is going to be our 7th year. And it was funny when I first started, everyone was like, I just said, and I was experimenting with social media as well, like Facebook.
Yeah.
So I just put a post up, if anyone was interested in running, playing golf, because I'd heard, if you run a golf tournament, you might be able to make a bit of cash, and like our bank balance wasn't the greatest, and the debtors were knocking on the doors. So I decided, hey, I'm going to run a golf tournament, and I don't even play golf. So this year was our 6th year, and we've named, because it was the 6th year, and our good friend, teammate, brother Jason Bell was number 6. So this year onwards, it's going to be named the Jason Bell Memorial Cup. So next year's going to be number 7. Yeah.
Nice. And I think one of the things that I think in terms of just looking at your work from afar that you've brought back is an element of family back in terms of the club and that as well, and those long associations of a number of the families that have been with the Tigers over many years.
Oh, you guys know what that's like, man. I just remember being a kid playing juniors at Upper Hutt. You're playing with all your best friends, and then we're playing like the greatest game of all, man. We're so lucky. And then afterwards, it's like a family environment. My mum and dad were there, my brothers and sisters, and we laughed about it the other day because it was always my sister Carol and my little brother Sonny. So dad had a video camera, so they followed me everywhere. It was just that, and like, being Samoan, but I knew from like the Māori brothers that had been there, and that was like the foundation. That's our marae. That's our family club. And like nothing beats that, playing with your friends and then spending, the rest of the afternoon, evening with our families.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Now, look, you've got a really extensive sort of experience in the recruitment sector, recruitment, employment, and that as well, across the number of different sort of businesses over the years. What sort of how did you use that skill set in terms of helping you with the work that you're doing at the club?
Man, I was just making some notes because I knew I was going to jump on tonight. And man, next year is going to be like I would have been in recruitment 20 years. So I started in 2005, and I'll never forget that because that was the year Michael Campbell won the US Open. So I've been with ALH for almost 2 years, and we specialize in the industrial sector. So it's pretty much blue collar. So anything from like construction, civil, manufacturing, warehousing, but my specialty is demolition, civil, and asbestos removal. And you guys will be surprised at how much ASI is in Wellington and how long they've been trying to remove that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, geez, I thought that had sort of passed its day in terms of all the demolitions and all the areas that they've started to clear and have a bit of regentrification across the Hutt Valley as well as over Porirua.
It's still out there.
Quite lucky because most of our clients are from like Christchurch or Auckland, but a lot of the demo and the asbestos work is here. So, unlucky for them, but fortunate for us.
Look, Ben, you're drawing from probably a pool of probably a lot of young men because it's physical work and that as well. Sort of what's the market sort of look like at the moment? I know in terms of general, we're in a bit of a tough time as well. How's that sort of working in the industry?
Yeah, it is a pretty tough market. Construction and buildings, it's really quiet at the moment, and a lot of the smaller businesses are feeling the pinch. Like in terms of like having people out, I mean, we're pretty much at 50% capacity compared to this time last year. So a lot of clients, they're tightening their belts. So, last year they were spending a bit for labor hire, whereas this year they're finding it doing their own recruiting, and then they're getting in HR people. Some are trying to phase us out, but some know because of the short-term projects that they really need us.
Yeah. Well, look, you still look like you've played Masters. You can still run around. A lot of what Tiali, myself, and Taho talk about is around health and well-being. Any sort of tips in terms of sort of your own sort of formula in terms of being able to sort of stay active and stay in good health and such?
Man, I'm not sure if I've got a formula, but I really like going. I really like going to the gym. I'm quite lucky at ALH because they pay for our gym membership at Les Mills, so there's no excuse for me not to go to the gym, and it's quite good. So I go to the one in the Hutt, and I quite often see a lot of the Petone and TA guys there.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing a lot of walking like during the day, and I said like a week ago that I'll chuck in a run or two during the week. Yeah, I haven't started that one yet.
You just need to run around that farm of yours.
Shucks, I reckon.
Walk up and down, track those fence line.
Just chase my lambs around.
Yeah, I reckon. And plus also all those wonderful sort of those posts you put up around your dinners and that are pretty fancy, bro.
Yeah. Your meals.
Even your plate would cost more than my shopping bill sometimes.
I get quite a few comments from people saying, "Oh man, I don't know what you've done over the years, but you've just become like a master chef." And I say to them, "I'm not the master chef. I'm the photographer.
You're the photographer.
I'm the one taking the photo and eating it."
With nice colors in terms of those photos too. So Ben, look, really appreciate you spending some time with us. Congratulations on the wonderful work you're doing with Upper Hutt. 7 years in, and I think it's really talks to some real tour that you've put into the club, and also just from obviously the experience that you had as a player, and just putting that investment back in, and also bringing a couple of people long associated with the club into support and that around you. So I wish you well, and just really love the work that you're doing and the contribution to the community.
I really appreciate your time, man. Good to see you guys. I'll catch up with Tahoe at a late date, and you boys just keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, it's good to talk footy, but you guys are talking about well-being as well, and a lot of people take that for granted. Mental well-being is just as important as physical well-being. Hey, man, keep up the great work, brothers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, and look, we want to get you back for a deep dive. There is a 1990 controversial incident that happened at the under-19s tournament that we'll get you back to talk about it at a later stage. But thanks again, and thanks for being the first of our BST Blitz.
Thank you, brothers. Take care, huh?
Awesome, Ben.
We'll see you later.